Hi, I'm Daniel and this is Ashville. Today we're going to review machinery. On one side we have a Liebherr 566 24-ton loading shovel, and on the other side we have a Liebherr 586 34-ton loading shovel. Bang, got it in one day. I'm a professional. I'm going to tell you about the differences in these machines and why we need both of them. Now, credit to the Liebherr salesman. Previously we used to use telehandlers to load lorries at Ashville. Well, one day the Liebherr salesman popped into the Ashville yard, had a look at what we were doing and said, "Dan, I'm going to drop you in a loading shovel." And I said, "Oh mate, I don't want one." He said, "No, I'm going to drop it in for free. Just have a use of it, see what it's like." I said, "Okay." He dropped it in the yard, and within 1 hour, the poor telehandler was parked up in the corner of the yard, and we haven't looked back since. Loading shovels have become absolutely indispensable to what we do here and how we operate. We use these machines in the yard to load lorries and move material. They're so versatile, the fact that they're actually wheeled machines with such large buckets. The cubic meterage of these buckets mean that we can get so much more work done in a shorter period of time. So this is an evolution of that. Tim, see them big words there? Yeah. Evolution. At first glance, it looks like the main difference between the 566 and the 586 is that one is a 24-ton and one is a 34-ton. However, when we look a little closer, we can see that the 586 is part of the new generation at Liebherr, which is called X-Power, and works in a completely different way. Both of these machines have the same engine, which is a Liebherr straight 6 diesel. The 566 is a 258 brake horsepower and a stage 3B engine, which is all to do with the emissions. At the time this was made, in 2015, it was state of the art. And the 586 has 358 brake horsepower and is a tier 4, which is the newer version of the 3B, and it means emissions have been reduced. That's a mouthful, isn't it? Where's the bottom step? Shouldn't there be another step? Yeah. Have I knocked it off? Came off, hasn't it? Yeah. Have a look at this side. Oh, there's a step. And have a look at this side. No step. So the boys in the yard have knocked the step off and not said a word to me. So now, it's a good thing I have the reactions of a jungle cat. And look at that step. To have a look at the 566, we have to open the panels on the side. We'll open this one, which has the rad. And then we'll open this one, which has the engine. Now, what's important to look at here is the fact that I actually have to get down to open the other panels. So as a technician servicing this machine or trying to find what's wrong with it, it's not the easiest thing to do. So this is the back of the engine. I'm going to climb up this side. Oh look, I've got a step. And there we have the engine. You'll notice when you look at the engine area, something special with all Liebherrs is that the cooling is actually at the front behind the cab. This is done for two reasons. One, because the rear is generally associated with the most dust and dirt. And two, because having the engine on the back actually acts as a natural counterweight. Let's have a look now at the 586 and see what the differences are. To have a look at the engine on the 586, we have to pop inside the cab and flick a switch. Transformers. More than meets the eye. Now, I didn't have a problem with the access on the 566, but on the 586 they've just spoiled us. We even have this plate to stand, and the engine can be completely serviced from here. Here we have our coolant, here we have our air filter, here we have our engine oil. This is a dream for your daily checks and your servicing maintenance. Forgive me for the amount of dust, but these are working machines. This is not a showroom, this is a working environment, and these machines work every day. Fuel consumption wise, the 566 burns 15.1 litres of diesel per hour, and the 586 burns 16.4 litres an hour. Now, this machine is 10 tons heavier than that one, and it doesn't burn much more. Let's see where the savings come from. Now I need to show you the transmissions to show you the difference between them. Wait here. On the 566, we have a hydrostatic transmission, which basically means we use pumps and motors to give constant power. The more you pump through, the more power you have. There are no gears. On the 586, we have a Cvt transmission, which is a continuous variable transmission. The main difference between the two is the 566 is hydrostatic and the 586 is hydrostatic and mechanical. To break the Cvt gearbox down into layman's terms, we have the mechanical side that is used for longer distances, speed and acceleration. And then we have the hydrostatic side that is used for short movements, loading the bucket and raising the bucket when loaded. What's important to remember is that the machine knows what you're doing the entire time and both of these adjust continuously, and no energy is wasted. What is used for short turns, that I say what? Oh. The combination of the Cvt Gearbox, the additional work to the engine, software upgrades and hydraulic system all come together to ensure a machine which is 10 tons heavier burns hardly any more diesel. Both machines have the same braking system. On the left hand side we have our standard brake, works off pads. And on the right hand side we have our accelerator. So you put your foot down on the accelerator and it gives you the momentum to move forward. As you remove your foot from the accelerator, the hydraulic system slows you down, acts as a brake as well. Now I'm a man who loves a big set of rims. The 586 sits on 29.5 inch rims, which is bigger than anything any of you got on any of your sports cars. And our tyre is a Michelin L5, which is a very durable off-road tyre. On the 566, we have a 26.5 inch rim, which is still bigger than any of your sports cars, and it also sits on a Michelin L5. Something that both these machines have, but that sets them apart, is they both have the limited automatic differential system. Each wheel only has exactly the amount of power it needs when it's working. This saves on tyres and fuel. On the 566, we have an industrial loading arm. These excel when you need heavy loads at height, for instance, loading sand onto volumetric concrete lorries. On a 586, the loading arm is called the Z-bar. It gets this from its Z shape and is generally suited to heavy duty applications like quarries. Something on both machines that is essential is an auto lube system. This basically continuously pumps grease round the machine to all the working parts, and this massively saves on wear and tear. On the 566, we have a 4.2 cubic meter bucket. And on the 586, we have a 6 cubic meter bucket. Let's have a look at the cab in the 566. I have an adjustable steering column. Here I have my main information panel, which also has my rear camera. Here I can control my climate. Here I can see all my temperatures and pressures. Here I can have a look at the servicing. And on the final button, I can have a look at my DPF and particulate filters. So on this control panel, I can control most of the features I can control in the information panel. However, I have more options as well. So here I have my handbrake, here I have my suspension, and here I have my traction control. So basically, if I'm skidding all over the place, I can press this button and it will put more weight through my wheels. Further down, I can control my lights on this panel. So out of the 566 and into the 586. First thing I noticed when I'm in this cab is that the cab's actually a lot bigger. I think it's about 10 centimeters bigger. And it feels like I have a much wider viewing range. Then we move on to the steering column, which this one can be adjusted in 3 different directions. So we can go up and down. We can go up and down again here. And finally, all right, do I have to start again? Actually adjusts in 3 different ways. So that's up and down again. And if we pull it this way, it goes up and down. Cool. Moving further into the cab, you can see that the information display is in a different location, which is actually a lot better. And my control panel is actually here, which is also a lot better as well. The biggest functional difference in both machines is that in here, we have this joystick to control the arm and the bucket. In the other machine, we have the older style levers. One other difference, in the 566, we have a panel like this to control our lights, but in here, to control our lights, we have switches. For today's test, we're going to get both machines to do the same task and see what the results are. So what we're going to do is we're going to get both machines to drive into the pile of material and see how much aggregate they can get on in one bucket. And then what we're going to do is get both machines with the aggregate they've just picked up to drive to the top of the pile and see how high they can get and if they can tip it. Let's do this. So guys, you could take a bit of a run up. The 566 has got a bigger run up than the 586. Let's see if that makes a difference. Let's go! reverse. Back up. So the L566 has 8.5 ton of material on, and the L586 has 11.5 ton of material on. Quite a difference. Now let's see how they get on driving to the top of the pile and trying to tip that material. Oh, look at that. Up you go, up, go on. Whoa. Up, go on. Whoa. As you can see, it was such a steep incline that the back of the machines had bottomed out. Now we're going to try that test again and see if we can get even further up the pile. My test was a bit ambitious, and the heap of material is very steep, and again the back has bottomed out. Hopefully from this test you can see the power that is in both of these machines. Now me personally, I prefer the 586 because I feel it's got a lot more power and it doesn't shake around when it's got material on, but perhaps that's just the increased weight. In summary, the 566 is a great machine. It's an all-round great workhorse and it excels when working at height. The 586 is a fantastic machine. It excels across the board. The fuel efficiency, the comfort, the power, and the productivity for me make this the winner. Click here for the Ashville website. Click here to subscribe to our channel. Click here for a full review playlist and click here to see transportation of our new LH60 material handler. I need to get down. It's so high up here.